welcome to the formal opening of Season 20. Jeez, Season 20 of this program. I scarcely know what to say. Well, whatever. Yeah, whatever, we can save that for Wednesday, since, well, we have work to do here. Indeed, it's time for the first review session of the season. 4 games, as usual. Up first is Plungeroo, which you might remember we did an interview with just at the end of the last season. So, fairly recent. If you want to go and learn about the creation process behind the game, you can go look that up in the archives. Probably easier to do that on YouTube these days.
Yeah.
It's like...
It's mostly because Twitch searches crash, but that's a gripe for another time.
Anyway, in case you missed said interview, Plungeroo is a colorful puzzle game about tinkering with mini pinball cabinets. No quick reflexes or quarters needed. Maneuver your ball through pop bumpers, flippers, and more until you become a pinball wizard. Indeed, that was quite a bit of the chunk of the interview as I remember it. Now, granted, it's been a few weeks. Sometimes the interviews fade from the mind, for one reason or another. Anyway, point is, this is a pinball-themed puzzle game. So you don't have to worry about, pinball reflexes or pinball physics or anything like that. No, everything here goes at perfect right angles, provided you are hitting on the bumpy part of the bumper here. It's didn't get to the part where they started to use it flippers. Not exactly sure what, but yeah, what you're seeing here is, pretty much the game. You've got to...
Can you put the bumper right next to the start?
It's been a while since I did this, Golix.
No, I was actually asking the question. I wasn't sure because in real life that would be tricky.
Yeah. I will say that's a bit of a frustration. You can't enter the ball from any direction. You have to get it to the bottom of the hole.
Anyway.
Yeah. Anyway. Here's one of the augments. You've got to hit the you got to hit all the buttons. And, this is basically the puzzle arrangements. You've got to figure out the path for the ball. And whatever gimmicks are added to the level, that's either your tool set or your goal. The next world will be using teleport holes. No, that's World 3. Next one's having to use the proper bits of land and water. Now, you might be asking, what if you're not good at puzzle games? Which is definitely a question that's come up when Petty's been playing them. And the answer to that is the hint system contained in Plungeroo. So the hint system is powerful, arguably too powerful. But I don't think I asked about the hint system, or it didn't come up much there. But you can use the hint system, not just to give you ideas on where to put just some of the bumpers, you can use it to basically solve the puzzle. Like, yeah, right here. Like, it will flat out tell you where to put all the bumpers. Yeah. Now, granted, I suppose you do have to figure out, you know, it basically becomes a matching game at that point. And
oh, right, this was the weird one.
Yeah. It's also worth noting, there's no penalty, there's no cooldown, there's no negative consequence for using hints. And that also, up to and includes achievements. Like,
just the minor, you've robbed yourself.
Right.
You played yourself.
Yeah. And I suppose there could be merit to that. If you pay money for this. You know, I mean, us, you know, we were gifted the game, so it mattered less to me that I used the hint system on certain levels. But it's like, if you want to play the game that way, you can. Like, you know, there's literally nothing stopping you, unlike most games of this nature, where there would be some penalty for using hints. You know, either you would get the score, you would get the best award, you'd only be able to use a couple of hints. Like, I don't think that last one would have ever been that viable for a game like this, if only because it's so compact. But it is there. Like, and outside of that, there's not really much to say about this game, quite frankly. Like, it's a perfectly cromulent puzzle game.
Oh, it looks like controller support was added, because I actually bumped my controller and then, oh look, controller movement. So I guess a console port is coming along? Question mark.
I'm like, I remember Jeff mentioning that he wanted to do a console port. Like, I'm trying to remember if he was one of the devs that was having problems with funding. Like,
But I mean, with controller implementation, one step closer.
Yeah. True enough. Though I can definitely say, don't play this with a fucking controller.
I mean, yeah, but at the same time,
something Nintendo Switch keyboard, something.
Well, Nintendo Switch touchscreen.
I know, I was kidding.
But it's like, you know, it's one of those, you use a controller because that's your only option, not because it's the way to go. Because this game is very much built around having, you know, not necessarily a mouse, but, you know, something, let's say, clickable. Like, it's the kind of control scheme that works well with a touchscreen as well. Maybe not quite as good, but, you know, certainly better than the imprecision of a controller. Like, you know, be that as it may, you know, the game works perfectly well in what it sets out to do. Like I said, maybe there's a couple of foibles that I disagree with. Like, I genuinely don't like the fact that you can only get into the hole via the bottom part. Like, but that's part of the design. That was very much intentional. You know, and once again, like, the hidden system is total cheese, but that's again a conscious decision. You know, so there's there's nothing wrong here. It's just, I didn't find that this, this wasn't that compelling of a puzzle game to me. And that's a completely subjective thing. Like I said, mechanically, it all works. It's just...
Well, I guess something to note with the plunger thing, it is a digital, like, just go. There is no, like, finessing the plunger or anything like that.
Well, yeah, like, that ties back to what I said. Like, this isn't a pinball game.
Yeah,
this is a pinball puzzle game.
I mean, I could see more advanced stuff like this where you'd actually have to meter how fast it goes for timing like that. But there are no puzzles like that, at least currently. Yeah. Or no mechanism for it.
Well, yeah, it's like... I'll say this as well right now. If you're going into this expecting some sort of pinball game, no. It's not a pinball game. It's not going to play like a pinball game. It's just using the rote mechanics of a pinball game to do puzzles.
Right.
It's like, if you want a pinball game, go buy Zen Pinball or Pinball FX or whatever they're calling it this week. Or something like that. It's like, this isn't pinball. Like, it's not going to play like pinball. It's going to play like a puzzle game, themed around pinball mechanics. I can't emphasize that enough. Because, expecting, like, analog...
You could essentially just reskin it as light beams and mirrors, or some other thing.
To a certain extent, but light beams and mirrors have actually been used in puzzle games. I played them.
I know. I'm not saying that would be unique, and I do think this is a neat aesthetic. It's just
but what I'm
100% integral to the functioning of the thing.
Right. You say that, but like using light beams, they have that has their own mechanics. That's much more about angles. Like, once again, I just going by the puzzle games I played that have those mechanics in them. Whereas this game is not really concerned about angularity, which is one of my principal concerns about somebody who might think this looks like a neat pinball game of some sort. Because, Anyway, so I suppose that brings us to pricing. And this game clocks in at a neat and tidy $4.99. $5, I think, is about the perfect price for this, because you get 70 tables here of, fairly conventional learning curve. They do get more difficult. But like I said, difficulty is kind of mitigated by the fact that, you can go hog wild with the hint system should you choose. But I suppose that's the key word there, or key wording. Should you choose. And, I think that's all I got on Plungeroo here. Anything else you guys want to add?
Not really. It's an alright game.
Mm-mm. Yeah, I'd say that's about where I fall. Like, it's fine. Not, it's a solid hand in terms of puzzle games. Not amazing. Not relentlessly addictive like, say, Tetris or Dr. Mario can be. But then again, it's not that kind of puzzle game anyway. I'm like... Though I suppose it's also, I don't think I would want to play this above, say, Voxel or Sokoban or whatever you want to call it.
I mean, it probably could have got a decent cult following if it was released on, like the Super Nintendo or Game Boy.
I'm thinking... It says there are 72 puzzles. Is that all of them, or is it...
all of them right now?
Hidden ones?
It's... If I'm remembering correctly, there Jeff was working on a patch that was supposed to bring in another 30 puzzles, if I'm remembering correctly.
Mm-hmm.
Like, though,
but we have no guarantees when or if that is coming.
no, I'm like, he was working on, like, it may have already gone live. Once again, I don't remember off. Well, here, let me go check the patch notes.
Yes.
That, that's usually the indicator of when something goes live.
I'm just wondering because, the number of puzzles in a puzzle game has a significant impact on how
No, I know.
game there is.
Yeah, looking at the
let's see.
patch notes, they're all just small patches. Like,
Yeah.
added a dark mode, which, thank you. Turns out, piercing white light is not very good on the fucking eyes.
Hmm.
I know, sounds fake.
Anyway, yeah, like I said, this is a perfectly fine game. And sometimes that's enough.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that'll about do it for this. Be sure to tune in after the break as Petty Fan will be reviewing Goliath Depot.